My name is Helena Carter. I am 31 years old. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of Columbus, Ohio. I work as a logistics coordinator in a regional distribution warehouse, the kind of job people never notice unless something goes wrong. I am not poor, but I am not comfortable either. I drive a 10-year-old car, cook most of my meals at home, and check my bank balance before making any unnecessary purchase. From the outside, my life looks quiet, stable, and forgettable. That is not an accident. I learned very early that staying invisible was safer than standing out. I come from a family that looks respectable in photographs, two parents who stayed married. A suburban house with white siding and a trimmed lawn. A successful older brother and a younger sister everyone described as sensitive and artistic. People used to tell my mother she was lucky. She agreed with them. In my family, love was not something you felt, it was something you earned, and it was never distributed evenly. My mother adored my older brother Daniel because he was confident, ambitious, and knew how to speak in ways that impressed people. She protected my younger sister, Emily, because she cried easily and needed to be shielded from disappointment. And me? I was reliable, practical, the one who could handle things. I was the daughter you called when the internet stopped working, the one you asked to help with paperwork, the one who stayed calm when bills arrived and voices rose. I was praised for being mature, responsible, low maintenance. No one ever asked if I wanted to be any of those things. My father, Michael, was unpredictable. Some days he was quiet and withdrawn. Other days he was loud, reckless, and angry at the world for not giving him what he believed he deserved. When he started drinking more heavily, my mother said it was stress. When he lost his job, she said it was temporary. When debt collectors started calling the house, she told us not to answer the phone. I was 17 years old when I found the first foreclosure notice hidden behind a cereal box in the kitchen pantry. I remember the sound of my parents arguing upstairs, the television on too loud, the house pretending everything was normal. I stood there holding that piece of paper, feeling something settle deep in my chest. I understood, without anyone explaining it, that if I did not step in, everything would fall apart. And I also understood something worse. When it did fall apart, I would be the one blamed for not preventing it. So I did what I had always done. I stayed quiet. I took responsibility. I made myself useful. And for a long time, that silence kept the family standing. Until the day I realized I was the only one paying the price. The text message arrived on a Thursday afternoon while I was sitting in my car during lunch break, unwrapping a sandwich I barely tasted. "Sweetheart," my mother wrote, "we are having a small family dinner this Sunday. It is important. Maybe it is better if you skip this one. You understand." I stared at the screen longer than I should have. Not because I was confused, but because some small part of me had still been waiting for proof that I mattered. I did not reply. Sunday came anyway. I drove past the house just after sunset and parked half a block away, where the neighbors would not recognize my car. The porch lights were on. Varm. Inviting. The windows glowed with movement inside. Shadows crossing the dining room. Laughter drifting through cracked glass. Cars lined the curb. Daniel's new luxury sedan. Emily's fiancé Ryan's truck. A few unfamiliar vehicles, probably co-workers or church friends. People my mother wanted to impress. I sat there with the engine off and my hands resting on the steering wheel, feeling like an outsider watching a life I had helped build but was no longer allowed to enter. That house had been refinanced under my name 3 years earlier, quietly, legally. No one knew, no one asked. I opened my banking app out of habit. Mortgage payment cleared that morning. Insurance, utilities, property taxes scheduled for the following week. Automatic, efficient, invisible. I wondered, not for the first time, how long it would take them to notice if I stopped. Inside the house, my family was celebrating stability funded by my silence. And something inside me finally went still. I did not go inside. Instead, I drove to a 24-hour coffee shop on the edge of town, the kind that smelled like burnt beans and exhaustion. I ordered a black coffee and sat in a corner booth with my laptop open, the screen glowing against the dark. I pulled up everything. Every bank statement, every loan document, emails from creditors thanking me for timely payments. Messages from attorneys addressed to me, not my father. Spreadsheets I had built over years, tracking balances, interest, deadlines. I scrolled slowly, not with anger, with clarity. I had not been helping my family through a rough period. I had been holding up an illusion they benefited from and denied. The next morning, I went to work like nothing had changed. I coordinated shipments, answered emails, fixed a scheduling issue that would have delayed an entire truckload if I had not caught it. My supervisor thanked me in passing. A coworker asked about weekend plans. I smiled. I nodded. I said nothing. During lunch, I sat in my car again and made a phone call. I need to remove myself as guarantor from a mortgage, I said calmly. The woman on the line paused. Ma'am, that will trigger a full financial review. The primary borrower will need to requalify on their own. I understand. There was another pause. Are you sure you want to proceed? Yes. That afternoon, I called the insurance company and removed my name. Then the utility provider. Then the accountant who had been emailing me for years while assuming I was just the helpful daughter. By Friday, the house had a deadline. By Saturday, the illusion had cracks. My mother called me for the first time in months. Why are there letters coming to the house? She demanded, skipping any greeting. Maybe you should read them, I said. Her tone sharpened immediately. Did you sign something? I signed nothing new. I simply stopped signing for you. Silence on the line. Then anger, fast and familiar. How dare you after everything we have done for you? I let out a quiet breath. You have done nothing for me, I said. You have accepted everything. She hung up. I expected guilt to rush in after that call. Doubt, fear, regret. Instead, that night, I slept deeply for the first time in years. No racing thoughts, no mental checklists, no waiting for the next emergency. Just quiet. And somewhere beneath that quiet, the slow understanding that this was only the beginning. The consequences did not arrive like an explosion. They arrived like weather. Slow, inevitable, impossible to argue with. 3 days after my call to the bank, Daniel showed up at my apartment unannounced. I opened the door and found him standing there in scrubs, his posture stiff, his jaw tight. He looked irritated more than worried, the way people do when a problem interrupts their routine. We need to talk, he said, already stepping inside. I did not invite him in. I let the door close behind him anyway. Mom is freaking out, he continued. The bank called. The accountant called. You caused a mess. I leaned against the counter and folded my arms. I did not cause anything, I said. I stepped out. You cannot just step out, Helena. That house is our parents' home. No, I said. It was a loan I guaranteed. There is a difference. He stared at me like I had switched languages. You always do this, he snapped. You overreact. You make things difficult. Why now? Because now I am done pretending this was normal. His face hardened. You are being selfish. I nodded. Yes. That answer caught him off guard. He had expected excuses. Apologies. Explanations. You know I cannot refinance a loan, he said. My student loans. My schedule. Do you have any idea what this could do to my career? I looked at him for a long moment. For years, I had swallowed sentences just like that. For years, I had adjusted my life around his ambitions. This time, I said nothing. He left angry. Not scared yet. Still convinced I would fold. 2 days later, Emily tried a different approach. Her messages came in waves. Long texts filled with memories, childhood photos, lines about loyalty and family sticking together. She ended every message with a heart emoji, like softness could erase math. I replied once. I sent her a spreadsheet. It listed every payment I had made over 7 years. Mortgage, credit cards, legal fees, interest, late penalties, totals highlighted at the bottom. She stopped responding after that. The third call came from my mother. She did not yell this time. Helena, she said quietly, you know your father is not well. Stress is dangerous for him. I closed my eyes briefly. That was her favorite tactic. Guilt wrapped in concern. Then maybe you should not have built your life on something you could not afford, I replied. Her voice cracked. We are family. Family does not mean I carry everything alone. She was silent for a long time. Then she said something that finally snapped the last thread. We never asked you to do all of that. I felt something cold settle in my chest. You accepted it, I said. Every month, every year. Without asking why, she began to cry. I did not comfort her. A week later, she came to my workplace. She stood in the warehouse, surrounded by steel shelves and forklifts, wearing a wool coat that did not belong in that space. People stared. My supervisor hovered nearby, confused. You embarrassed me, she hissed. Do you know what people are saying? Probably that the truth is inconvenient, I said evenly. You think you are better than us now? No. I think I am finished being used. She grabbed my arm. You are destroying this family. I gently pulled away. I am not destroying anything. I am letting it stand on its own. She left without another word. 2 weeks later, the house was officially under review. The past resurfaced quickly. My father's old debts, missed payments, lies buried under years of my money. The bank did not care about intention, only numbers. Daniel called again. This time, his voice was tight. Can you help just this once? He asked. No. Emily emailed. Short. Polite. Scared. I did not respond. That night, I blocked every number. And for the first time, I let the silence work in my favor. The aftermath was quieter than I expected. No screaming, no dramatic confrontations, no final showdown where everyone said the things they should have said years ago. Just absence. Silence spreading into the spaces I used to occupy. The house went into default review within a month. I found out through a distant cousin who thought she was being kind. She left me a voicemail, her voice cautious, like she was stepping into unstable ground. Your parents might have to sell, she said. It is a shame. They worked so hard for that place. I deleted the message without responding. They had not worked for that place. They had lived in it. The official letter arrived 2 weeks later. Certified mail. Heavy paper. Legal language. My mother had attempted to contest the financial changes, claiming undue influence and emotional coercion. The accusation was almost impressive in its creativity. According to her, I had manipulated her during a period of vulnerability. According to her, I had taken advantage of my role as a daughter. I read it once. Then I forwarded it to my attorney. He responded within hours. We have documentation, he wrote. Extensive documentation. His reply was short, precise, and devastating. Timelines, signature, payment histories. Proof that every major financial decision over the last 6 years had been initiated and maintained by me. There was no room for interpretation. My mother did not write again. Life did not become magical after that. I did not wake up suddenly fulfilled or healed or free of every scar. But something fundamental shifted. I stopped waiting. I stopped bracing for the next emergency, the next crisis, the next call that would hijack my evening and demand my attention. My phone stayed silent. My weekends were empty in a way that felt unsettling at first, like standing in a room where the noise had just stopped. I did not fill the space right away. I let it exist. I moved into a smaller apartment closer to work, one I chose entirely for myself. No extra bedroom for guests who might need a place to stay. No couch chosen for durability. No kitchen stocked for emergencies. I enrolled in evening classes I had postponed for years. I learned how much I liked studying when I was not exhausted. I learned how my brain worked when it was not constantly in survival mode. Some nights, I cooked dinner and ate in silence, noticing the strange absence of guilt. No one was waiting for me to solve something. No one was disappointed in me for resting. 3 months after I blocked my family, I ran into Daniel at the grocery store. He looked older, tired in a way that no amount of professional confidence could hide. His shoulders were tense, his eyes shadowed. Helena, he said, surprised. Daniel, I replied. There was an awkward pause, heavy with everything we were not saying. Mom is not doing well, he said finally. I nodded. I am sorry to hear that. He studied my face, searching for something. Regret, softness, an opening. You could still help, he said. It is not too late. I looked at him carefully. At the brother I had once admired, once protected. I already helped, I said. I helped for years. This is what it looks like when I stop. He did not argue. He just nodded slowly. We stood there between shelves of cereal and canned soup, two strangers, bound by history but not obligation. Then he turned and walked away. I did not watch him go. That night, sitting on my balcony with the city spread out below me, I realized something that made my chest tighten. For the first time in my life, nothing terrible was about to happen. No debt waiting to surface. No phone call ready to ruin my evening. No emotional bomb disguised as family concern. Peace felt unfamiliar, almost dangerous. I stayed with it anyway. I thought about the version of myself who found that foreclosure notice at 17 and quietly decided to disappear to keep everyone else standing. I wished I could tell her something. You are not strong because you endure. You are strong because you leave. I did not win anything by walking away, but I finally stopped losing myself. And that was enough. People like to believe that family love is unconditional. They say blood is thicker than water, that parents always mean well, that if you endure long enough, things will eventually balance out, that sacrifice is noble, that silence keeps the peace. I believed those things for most of my life. I believed that being the responsible one was a compliment, that being low maintenance made me easier to love, that if I just handled things quietly, someone would eventually notice. Someone would say thank you. Someone would tell me I mattered. They never did. What I learned instead is this. Some families do not survive because they are strong. They survive because one person absorbs all the damage. One person pays. One person stays quiet. One person becomes invisible, so everyone else can pretend things are fine. I was that person. And when I stopped, the truth surfaced. Not because I exposed anyone, not because I fought or screamed or demanded justice, but because I removed my weight from a structure that had never learned how to stand on its own. Walking away did not make me powerful. It made me honest. I did not get an apology. I did not get closure in the way movies like to promise. There was no moment where my mother suddenly understood, or my father admitted his failures, or my siblings thanked me for the years I carried them. That did not happen. What happened was quieter. I stopped feeling responsible for other people's choices. I stopped mistaking obligation for love. I stopped measuring my worth by how much I could endure. I learned that peace does not feel like happiness at first. It feels empty, unfamiliar, almost wrong, because when you have spent your life bracing for impact, calm feels like a trap. But it is not a trap. It is space, space to rest, space to choose, space to become someone who is not defined by survival. If you are the quiet one in your family, the one who fixes things, the one who pays, apologizes, and absorbs blame, the one everyone relies on but no one protects, listen carefully. You are not selfish for leaving. You are not cruel for choosing yourself. You are not breaking the family. You are simply refusing to disappear anymore. And that is not betrayal. That is the moment you finally begin to live.